Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome back to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. My name is Tyler Carter.
Hey, my name is Cody Vancillo.
Cody, we are partying like it's 1938. The Clones are 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
It honestly feels great. I think up to this point, this was going to be the toughest test for the Cyclones. Going on the road in Morgantown, boys, people will probably go like how weird Morgantown gets that night, and I think Iowa State handled business. And before discuss a little further into football, the AP preseason men's basketball poll came out a little earlier today, so I guess want to kind of just take a look at that real fast.
Sure.
So probably find it here. So there is some things to note about like this AP poll, and obviously the one thing's gonna jump out to you immediately is Kansas being that number one spot. So here's just your top 10. You have Kansas with 31st place votes, number one in the country. Alabama number two. Number three is UConn, the defending national champions. UConn. Number four, Houston. Number five, your Iowa State Cyclones are cracked the top five in the preseason poll. They're above number six Gonzaga. Number seven is Duke. Number eight Baylor. Number nine North Carolina, and number 10 Arizona. What are your thoughts about like Big 12 being half of the top 10?
It's amazing. It further proves that the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball, bar none. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I would love to see if we can get multiple teams or at least one team to the Final Four because that's the thing. The only problem is that we beat up on each other, and by the time this tournament starts, everybody is like tired. But like, I mean, I think it bodes well for us. We got quality teams in this conference, and it's going to be must watch television. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's get into this football game real quick, man. I
Yeah.
mean, once again, the defense comes up with a stellar performance. Another
Mm-hmm.
linebacker gets hurt. Luckily, they came back. No problem. It's just like, I feel like just with this scheme, it's just plug and play. Like no matter who comes in, and the heroes today, we are the heroes yesterday were Ryland Barnes and number 34, we got to talk about Bo Goodwin. Bo Goodwin, man, from Kingsley Pearson High School in Kingsley, Iowa. Another small town Iowa kid, man. These small town Iowa kids come to play, bro.
Yeah, it's something about these small town farm boys coming to play at linebacker for Iowa State. I mean, Ryland Barnes, his family, they couldn't make the game at like in Ames because like they had harvest. So that's the farmer's livelihood, and shout out to the Barnes family, livelihood, and you guys are really like the one that kind of responsible for like the whole growth of the economy. And if Iowa's always support your farmers, unlike that other school out east, but I digress. But anyways, yeah. Um, yeah, just honestly, there's nothing more common in this college football season than Iowa State starting like a drive or two, trying to figure out what you're doing, and then one of your linebackers goes out the game injured. Like that's at this point, it's just a weekly.
Yeah, man. It's just like every time we're like, okay, we're gonna feel it out, and then you saw Ellis down. You're like, oh no, here we go again. Cooper Ebel goes down. Oh crap! How many? And then your next question is just like, man, how many actual linebackers do we even have on this roster? And I mean, it doesn't really matter. Whoever goes up there steps up, and it's just. I feel like there's just like an expectation of, hey, if you're gonna be at this linebacker position, no matter if you are walk on, you better know how to play.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, and that's a test to the coaching at Iowa State. I mean, that's a test to Coach Matt Campbell, John Heacock, Taylor Mauser, and the rest of the staff.
yeah, and I mean, just if you just really just look at our linebacking core, like you know, our star Caleb Bacon was a walk on. Like just the fact that they have just this much walk on talent and preferred walk ons at this position, and just the fact that we have that much talent, it just shows you just the recognition of talent by this coaching staff.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is great to see. And I think now like it might be a good time to go ahead and check out like the whole box score and kind of break that down. So the final score ended up being 28-16, and I think yeah, your prediction was way closer than mine was because I was expecting more of an offensive like lot of fireworks. So
Mm-hmm.
game ended up being 28-16 in favor of Iowa State. Now the score is a little bit deceptive though because West Virginia got 6 points in garbage time, which seems to be
Mm-hmm.
a common theme with the teams going against Iowa State. It's like the only time they ever score in the second half is like either like a little earlier in the half or like garbage time. So I
Right.
mean, the defense is continuing to just shut down teams in that second half.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely amazing. This is a trend that just goes on for the just goes on for the entire season, bro. Just if you look at all the stats, we've shut out teams like 3 or 4 games, and then we've only given up like a touchdown or two, which have been garbage time touchdowns for 3 or 4 of the games. So like, it's absolutely amazing that people still haven't been able to figure out this defense. It's that's why John Haycock's called the professor. He's always a step ahead of someone. So it is very very impressive. And I mean I mean, look, they ran for what 100. Look, for what I said, bro, they ran for 148 yards. So I
Mm-hmm.
said if we hold them under 180 yards, I felt that we were going to win this game.
Yeah.
So they ran for 148, and we won the game. And like I said, you force Garrett Green to actually throw. He's not good. He threw 2 picks up to us. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so that was the story of the game. Winning in
Yeah.
the turnover margin. We won in the margins once again. Like,
Mm-hmm. These are the
just
things, yeah, that Matt Campbell has preached. Like, there's always longest time, and it's become a little bit of a meme within the Iowa State community. But now it's actually coming into fruition, and it's paying off really well. I mean, look, yeah, you said like West Virginia, they only have 148 rushing yards. Their quarterback was their leading rusher, and that's the
mm-hmm.
crazy part is the fact that their quarterback was the leading rusher. Jaheim White only had 46 yards. So, like in retrospect, yeah, we shut down their entire running game, and outside of like the quarterback making like some long scrambles, like they couldn't really run the ball, and then we forced Garrett Green to make a play and 2 times pick them off. First pick goes out to shout out Des Moines native Jamison Patton, got
Jay
his pick.
Miles so happy for him.
And then John Tess Williams. At this point, I think it's just a weekly scheduled interception. I think at this point, you just need to put like a thing, like if you're a gambling person, just put down like some money on John Tess Williams getting an interception.
I completely agree, man. It's just like it feels like it's like, oh, well, at some point in the game or a big point in the game, he's going to come up with a pick. And I mean, I remember way back when he was a freshman, his mom was telling me that, man, John Tez is going to be really really good. And like I believed her because like, hey, he took his lumps, but yeah, now he's definitely one of the best players on the team, man.
hmm
Especially probably I would say our best corner.
hmm I mean, guy's been able to scope out picks, so now I'm very excited to see what it does here against UCF. And I mean, get to them a little later, but outside of like just John Tess Williams' performance, we can go from the defensive side of the ball and look at the offense. I mean, the play calling in this game was beautiful. These were some beautiful play calls by Taylor Mauser.
Man, I will say that Taylor Mauser is a play calling mastermind. He runs. We line up in something, then we pass out of it. Line up in something else, run out of it. And I will say my favorite play call of the game, bro, was when we ran where they loaded the right side and
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Mouse like, oh, you think you're gonna stop us? Okay, we're gonna run a read option to the other side and easily get the first down. I'm like,
Yeah,
that is excellent. That's beautiful play calling right there.
that fourth down option. This is some that was one of the best like calls of the game. And I mean, he's clearly just being let like Matt Campbell's allowing him to call like what fits best. I think honestly, with the way we were calling it, we could have honestly put a 40 on West Virginia if we decided to do so because we were getting anything that we wanted.
Yeah, and I figured once we were up, like I watched the game at the alumni bar. I figured once we were up 21-10, I'm like, well, it's Anaconda time,
hmm
and like they were just gonna just squeeze the life out of him, for the rest
hmm
of the game. And then I like you said, and once again with the aggressiveness of this offense, I just love that they were trying to keep the streak alive to try to get Higgins that touchdown to keep it alive.
And
And
I
but
mean, he really tried. Like I
they
knew they wanted TD. just because, like, just because.
So one thing I wanted to go touch on a few points defensively. Go back to that real quick. I
Yeah,
think we gotta talk about that one crucial pass breakup in the game because I remember I believe it was in the first quarter or
I think
second
I,
quarter
I think it was
where
the second quarter. Yeah, it was the second quarter. Um, West Virginia was driving. This was their second drive after they got a touchdown on the first drive, and West Virginia had themselves a third down in Iowa State territory, and they passed. I don't remember who it was supposed to be to, but Jeremiah Cooper breaks up the pass, forces a fourth down, and forces West Virginia to miss a field goal. Now, had Jeremiah Cooper not forced that pass breakup, I'm thinking West Virginia likely goes down, forces a touchdown. They're up 14-0, and it's a way different game for Iowa State.
I completely agree, man. That's exactly what I was gonna say. That would have been a momentum changer, been up 2 touchdowns. I mean, the fact that they missed that field goal and be like, okay, well now, okay, we didn't come out hurt or anything, so I'm like,
Yeah,
we're good now. And then as soon as I said that, Higgin or right down the seam, Jalen Noel a 60-yard touchdown, right back in this thing, 7-7.
yeah. And then after that, I think the floodgates opened up for Iowa State, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, the star of the game for Iowa State on the offense is clearly Carson Hansen, 20 carries, 96 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
This is his coming out game, man. I mean, I still think it's going to be running back by committee. That fits us well. I don't think there's going to be a number one back per se. I think, but man, like Carson Hansen running hard, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Like I love his running style, bro. Like he ran fluid and stuff, and also like once again, I'm still part of the Abu Sama fan club, and he's still young. He's still a young guy. I think the problem, the thing with him is that Abu always tries to bounce it outside, and
Yeah,
if he was just run straight north and south, he definitely because he
yeah,
has power. I think once he learns to do that, I think he'll definitely be good. Because he's still developing, so I'm still
yeah.
not part of. Jalen Jackson, 12 for 19. He struggled a little bit, but he was definitely serviceable.
Yeah. I think that Abu Salma, like, his thing, I think it's kind of like David Montgomery. Like, whenever, like, if you remember, like, those David Montgomery years, he would
Yeah,
have to do everything he could because his O line wasn't able to hold any holes, open up any lanes during the run. So David Montgomery had to do it himself. I think Abu Salma has, like, that's, like, it's kind of the same thing. Where, like, I don't know if you,
right,
because last year, Abu Salma had to be the guy because there was no other
right.
running back like that really could produce. So he had to be the guy, and that O line was not great. This year we have a much better O line, much more depth, and I think Abu Salma is still trying to build some level of trust because I think he's just so used to like having to bounce it outside because his O line wouldn't be able to produce like lanes. So I think he's still getting adjusted to that. I know halfway through the season that shouldn't be a thing, but I mean we're not the ones who are like in that position of Abu Samba and like field vision. I think once he improves that, once he gains more trust, builds more chemistry with the offensive line, he's gonna take those lanes and he's going to be gone.
Definitely. Now, I will ask you, did you really have any type of worry coming in after that? After like when they were driving for the second one, I'm like, oh crap. I was thinking, I'm like, oh crap. I wasn't doom and gloom. I was just like, dang, this is we're gonna have to offense
Yeah.
gonna have to pick it up. But
Yeah, I was saying like I think that drive like I was like okay, first drive happened whatever, but you need to get a stop on this drive to keep yourself alive in the game, and I mean they did exactly that, and then the offense found was clicking, and then boom.
yeah, man, that's how I was feeling. I'm like, man, the offense gotta get it clicking, like, and then just everything turned in our favor. Rocco, I think this might have been one of Rocco's best games. Like, he was 18 to 26 for 265, for one touchdown. But like, man, he was very efficient, made timely throws.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm calling my shot right here. I believe Eli Green is going to be a big factor coming into the second stretch of the season, bro, because we finally got the ball to him and he is great. He's great, man. Like those two
hmm
catches he had on that one drive. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean those like and they were pinpoint passes too from Rocco to
Mm-hmm.
Eli Green, and I mean that was just a great sequence for Eli Green. I think that got some confidence into him, and he got himself a couple carries. That was his only catch of the game, but they were very important because it was on the same that drive that got us that second touchdown. So even when it's like very short sampling, he still made an important impact, and I think that's just a belief that everybody on the team's gonna have. Like, you might get sparse moments, but make those moments count because you don't know like how important they're gonna be to the whole game. And I mean, clearly, I think we're gonna see more of Eli Green along once you start covering Higgins and Noel more. Eli Green's right there, and then we didn't even get to the tight end room. The tight end room didn't really need to do much, and I think would have loved to get the tight ends more involved. But like, God, it didn't really. Your offense was clicking in so many ways. You didn't even have to worry about going to the tight ends.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Burkle had that beautiful catch for a first down, but yeah, I mean, like I said, and Bramer had a nice 15-yard gain, but like. Because somebody was saying we should throw the tight ends. I'm like, well, we don't really need to when we have good receivers. I was like, it'd be nice, but like we don't have to necessarily throw it just because we have them. Like if the receivers
Yeah.
are playing well, throw it to the
Mm-hmm.
receivers.
Plus, again, like our run game, we had a solid run. Like we had some solid runs as
Right.
well. So yeah, I
So I
think
want to, yeah. Let's look at the time of possession because I was interested to see.
let me see. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Probably. Okay, right here. Yeah. There's
Oh,
the
okay.
so basically about similar. Like, well, I guess yardage like Iowa State has even first down about similar. But there's the big key right there: turnovers in the turnover margin. Iowa State boosting up their turnover margin, and that was a key. I mean, that first interception, I believe, was right after we had scored. I think it was either was it Carson Hantz's second touchdown, I believe,
Yeah.
or was that it? Like, I knew he threw a pick earlier in the game. No, the first pick was to set up his like
Right.
first TD.
First
Then his
touchy.
second,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the second turnover led to the second TD, and that essentially those two picks essentially turned the game, and West Virginia never recovered.
I mean, we said it in the preview, Cody. We said that Iowa State is hard to beat when they don't turn the ball over. Iowa State does not turn the ball over. Like, and like you really, and with Iowa State to be Iowa State, you got to be patient. And a lot of teams aren't patient, bro. They want to be like, okay, we got to get it now. You know, this team is going to suffocate us. We got to get it now. We got to get it now. And then interception,
Yeah,
and then the game's over.
yeah, and I mean, again, I think it's the same thing with the way the defense goes. It's like like by the time like I think it's like because John Heacock allows like the opposing offense to kind of get comfortable and they can't figure out what like how to adjust, and by the time the opponent adjusts, I think it's too late. You know,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And another thing I wanted to add, bro, is like I will say like the D when you have a good D line because I one thing I did like in this game, bro, is that the defensive line brought pressure throughout the entire game. Haycott brought pressure the entire game. I really, really like that. That's and you know that causes our linebackers to be able to play free. When the other seven players on your team or the other eight guys that are in front of you and the back of you like make it easier so that you can play free. That makes it so
yeah,
much easier to play linebacker.
yeah. And like you, Jeff Woody actually broke down one of the defensive snap. You saw like all the defensive linemen all shift to like the right side of the offensive line, forces that side of the field to be cut off, and forces
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Green to scramble left, kind of like taking the bait, and that's what kind of I would say wanted Garrett Green to do, and force him into making a very like tough play, and that just falls that played right into the books of Iowa State, and that shows just how great like his defensive adaptation is.
Right, and just like people were saying, if Garrett Green beats you, then more power to him. But usually, for most of the time, you'll force somebody to make a mistake.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think just overall, just a great day all around the board for Iowa State, and I mean they're now cracking the top 10 in the AP poll. They're number 9 in the country. So, and now we just got ourselves announced for the next home football game. It's gonna be UCF. And did you see what they posted? Dude, what they posted last night? Oh no, they know exactly what they're doing. Like this is like they all yeah yeah this
Yeah,
is this line right here set like Iowa State Twitter on a frenzy.
Everyone's like, "Oh, why are we wearing black for this game?" And honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter. If it
Yeah,
to me, all the people that are getting mad that were wearing the color black, y'all just please get over it. It is not about you. If the players want
yeah,
to wear the color black, let them wear the color black. And here is the motto: look good, feel
play good.
good, play good. When you play good, what do? You
You
win.
win.
So
Yeah.
stop all that. Stop all that foolishness.
Yeah, and it's not even like some like, and I'm gonna like, it's not even like I've seen it from some of our fan base, but I've seen other fan bases constantly going into every single comment section saying, "Oh, look at you guys not wearing your school colors." Little history lesson: silver and black was our original school colors before we voted cardinal gold. Because
Right.
I have that, yeah. So technically, yes, black is an original school color before we voted on it. So has been 125 years, yes, but it is in written history that black was one of our colors. So you can qualm about it. And again, and I need to call it out because it was this like Oklahoma State. I saw this one dude saying it, buddy. Your team is what 0-3 in Big 12.
Yeah, I mean they're just mad because they have their quarterback stinks, and that their team is not as good as they thought they were, and their offensive line is trash. So yeah, forget
Quarterback needs to
that.
hit. Quarterback needs to hit LinkedIn.
Right, exactly, and get a job. But
Yep.
but
But
yeah,
yeah,
bro, yeah, man. That's so yeah. This blackout's gonna be crazy. I already heard that the tickets have already went by. I mean, the effect of us of being undefeated, man.
yeah. I got my gear ready. I just got this. I just got this today, so I'm ready for the blackout. So I'm all good to go. I feel great, and that's gonna be a fun day. Are you making that game by any chance?
Unfortunately, no. I will be at Arrowhead. So if you go to Arrowhead, then I will be
All
there.
right, all right. I'll see if I can find things that. But
Please do. Yes.
yeah. But yeah, that's Iowa State. We need to check out the across the country and across the Big 12 because there
Man,
were some
what a
really good games.
day!
This was one of those beautiful days of college football. Take a look. Number one Texas up massacring number 18 Oklahoma in the Red River shootout. This wasn't even a shootout. This was a Red River massacre.
Yes, it was. It was that. Yeah, that wasn't even close. OU has a serious problem offensively. They got to get that figured out.
Yeah, doesn't help when like what I believe was 5-year receivers were out with injury.
Yeah, I mean, still though, I mean, you got to have some type of competence at that position. And then they thought that they made that. I mean, and then Jeff Levy left for Ole Miss, and now you have Seth Luttrell who left from being his head coaching position at North Texas, and the
Mm-hmm.
offense is stinky.
Yep. Yep. All right, and then right below it, you have number 3 Oregon taking down number 2 Ohio State by 1 point. Dylan Gabriel with 341 passing yards. What a performance for the Oregon Ducks, and what a win for them. Like just kind of like that's their like kind of welcome to the Big Ten game, and that puts Oregon now right at the top of the Big Ten and
Yeah, Oregon is in the driver's seat right now to win the Big Ten. Now Ohio State. I mean, I think this might be a game of the year. A game of the year nominee. But so it was back and forth all game.
Yep.
We could possibly see this again, but who knows? I mean, because now Ohio State has to go on the road in like 3 weeks to Happy Valley to play Penn State. Penn State had a huge win over USC.
Yeah. Speaking of Penn State, yeah. Speaking of Penn State, they were like the Big Ten on CBS game. They traveled down to LA Memorial Coliseum to take on the USC Trojans, and Penn State needed overtime to get past the Trojans. How about that?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I was watching that game at my friend's house after I got off work, and they were struggling. They were down 20-6 at half, but Drew Aller grew up in the second half and had an amazing game. And shout out to Tyler Warren, the tight end, dude. 17 catches, 224 yards, and a touchdown. Unreal.
I mean that dude. I mean that dude did just about everything on for Penn State's offense. I mean You saw him lined up at wide receiver. You saw him lined up at tight end. You saw him lined up at running back. He even had a pass as a Q. He even lined up at QB for a snap in the
He's a do it
backfield.
all
He did
do
just
it all
about
guy.
everything. He probably could have been a lineman as well. That dude was a all around. It's a Swiss Army knife essentially. It's what he was that day.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, Penn State obviously very glad to win that, but they probably need to start like blowing out teams they want to assert themselves. And I think the same thing goes for Oregon as well. These teams just got to start winning dominantly. I think that's one thing people are criticizing, giving backlash to Oregon and Penn State for, is the fact they haven't really blown out their opponents.
Yeah, man, and yeah, Georgia. I mean, they survived again. I mean, they gave up, man, 14 points to Mississippi State in the third quarter. I mean, man, Beck for 459, but golly, man, I just giving up 31 points to a bad bad Mississippi State team, man, that doesn't bode well. They got Texas this week in Austin, so we'll see how that goes for them.
Yep. Good luck to them. More SEC action. We're just gonna go down like kind of like the top 25 or however we go. Alabama surviving against South Carolina in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama is reeling this
Man,
year.
they are reeling, bro. I don't think they're as good. They keep surviving. I feel like there's gonna become another loss on this schedule. Like South Carolina, if they had really like if Lenore Sellers, he's young and he'll learn, but man, you got to think, man, Alabama is not as good. Um, so yeah, we're gonna see how good they are next Saturday, third Saturday in October, Alabama Tennessee this weekend. That's gonna be an amazing game. But
Yeah,
they're
speaking of
not. Yeah,
Tennessee, here we are. Yeah.
I look. This was my bet of the week. I told everybody to take the points with Florida because Tennessee, like, they weren't that same team that was scoring 60 points. Like
Hmm.
they were brought back down to earth. They struggled in that in the OU game, and I should have told you something. So I mean, we'll see how they respond against them. And Vanderbilt, man, Vanderbilt won again at Kentucky. So
Oh man,
Vanderbilt is for real, you guys.
dude. Yeah, I mean Diego Pavia. They got something going down in National. So who knows? Who would have thought the year 2024 Vanderbilt beats Alabama and Kentucky?
Hey man, yeah, Kentucky is sort of stinky. So I mean, uh,
Yeah.
uh, Vanderbilt has something there, and I think they're going to be a bowl team this year.
Hmm. You want to know who else I say is stinky right now? Ole Miss. I'm saying Ole Miss right now is looking a little stinky. Dropping this game in Death Valley against number 13 the LSU Tigers.
This was also a great game. This was a late night game.
Hmm.
One thing I say about Ole Miss, this is the problem when you portal your entire team. Because when you portal your entire team with top players, you can't be going 10-2. You got to be able to at least go 11-1 or 12-0. But now you got two losses before November, and that schedule is not getting any easier. You still got to play Alabama, like you still got to play Georgia. So 8-4 is incoming.
Yeah, but LSU, I mean, they aren't exactly like world beaters, but they put themselves into a solid position. Going down the list like for the rest of their schedule, they've got at Arkansas. That's a little more difficult, and then that's a little more difficult game. So watch out for Arkansas, and they have to travel at Texas A&M before hosting number seven Alabama. Like this stretch is going to be tough for LSU, but I mean, if they can get through this three-game stretch right here, Arkansas, A&M, and Alabama, they could put themselves in a pretty good position to somehow make the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I mean, like you beat Bama and you roll through your schedule, go 11-1. I mean, you're and assuming Texas wins Saturday, is setting up for at A&M and Texas. That's probably where they're going to be for game day for the last game of the year.
I expect that
assuming
too.
assuming results go that way. Because someone was like, "Well, is Farmergate going to be hosted?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "They're going to go to Texas and
Yeah.
A&M if they're both undefeated in the conference."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's unfortunate, but yeah, that's just some of like the top 10 action that's gone on around the country. Um, yeah. We can now. It's time to take a look at the Big 12, and there were some solid games. BYU number 14 hosting Arizona. They blew the doors off of the Wildcats of Arizona. Talk about
For
BYU's performance.
BYU, every week is proving that they belong and that they're actually legit, man. Like this Arizona team is the same one that went on the road and beat Utah. And Arizona, I mean, BYU forces 4 turnovers. That was the key, man. And they shut down Fafita and McMillan, and they couldn't run the ball at all. So, I mean, hats off to BYU.
Great, great start for them. 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12, and they, along with Iowa State and Texas Tech, are the last three remaining undefeated within the conference. So it's looking right now to be a three-man race for the Big 12 title, and who knows how the rest of the season's gonna pan out? Because I'm check because I think BYU they don't play. Okay, they don't play Texas Tech,
Yeah,
but
they
we
don't play
do.
Tech, but we do.
So that
So, I
I'm
mean, it's
thinking,
going to come down. Yeah.
yeah, to that. I think Iowa State Texas Tech that game right now is going to be essentially like a playoff elimination game for that Big 12 race.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
one's probably going to be in the 2:30 time slot, and I'm actually really really sad that I won't be at homecoming because I got a wedding that weekend. So yeah,
yeah, no worries. And then back to some more. This is the Big 12 after dark game. Kansas State going to Colorado and defeating the Buffaloes on a late touchdown pass.
this was an unreal game. DJ Giddens continues to show why he's one of the most underrated running backs in college football, and he made that sick that juke was crazy that he had
Mm-hmm.
on Shiloh Sanders,
Yeah.
wild. But
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado is having a good season. Colorado's going to go bowling. But K
Yeah.
State just put themselves right back in the race. So
Mm-hmm.
it should be interesting to see how they do. On their schedule is actually pretty favorable because now they just went to the teeth of their schedule.
Yeah. So I mean, Colorado coming out 2-1. Taking a look at the rest of their schedule. At Arizona, that's looking more winnable with the way Arizona looked against BYU. So that
Yep.
versus Cincinnati, definitely winnable. I don't see any difficulty for them. They do have to travel at Texas Tech, so we'll have to see about that game. Versus Utah, I've heard like so now I just saw that Cam Rising's out indefinitely, and Isaac Wilson's going to be the starter for the Utah Utes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like him. They sort of ruined their season by starting. I feel like they should have started Wilson because everybody already sort of knew that he was already still hurt. So like, and you can even tell on Friday that he didn't look right.
Yeah, literally the first like what was it? One of the first snaps that Utah took. I saw Cam Rising get dragged down, and his leg just kind of bent like underneath like the defender. I was like, oh yep, nope, it's gonna be a long day for him. Yeah, I don't know why they put him out when he was still undercooked. Goodness,
Y-
like I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, yeah. But I mean, that's just your overall slate for week 7. Looking ahead to what week 8.
Yeah,
Week 8 is looking to have some very good matchups. That one, I think this one, there's going to be a lot of marquee matchups in this game. So, real
yeah,
quick,
man. Let's take a look.
yeah, real quick, the Friday night slate, you're going to have Oregon traveling to Purdue. Purdue is looking to just find something, find any reason to keep going this year. Maybe it's them upsetting a top 5 team visiting their building. Who knows?
Hey, yeah, Purdue. I mean, if you looked at the watch Big Ten, my friend was over here watching Illinois, Purdue, Illinois. They almost pulled off the upset over like 23rd ranked Illinois. So I mean, Purdue is
Yeah.
pretty feisty.
hmm Yep. And then you got another Big 12 after dark. This time it's BYU hosting Oklahoma State. I expect BYU to just smoke the Cowboys. I don't see any reason for right now Oklahoma State standing a chance.
I completely agree with you. I think BYU is going to run away with that one.
And then your Saturday slate, number 19 Missouri hosting Auburn in the Battle of Tigers. You've got Iowa State hosting UCF. That's their 30 slot on FS1. Weather's looking pretty nice, so if you're an Iowa State fan and you got yourself your ticket, get out early and just enjoy the whole tailgate.
Yep, get out early, tailgate, get some dogs, get some brats, all that. Get some drinks in you.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a good night.
Number 6 in Miami traveling to Louisville. This one's closer than I think a lot of people would think because Miami's reeling right now. They're looking sluggish.
Yeah, I mean, if they play like they've been playing the last few weeks, they could definitely lose this one. And Louisville is reeling after losing the last two games. So, I think they just lost one. But I mean, they like Louisville is looking to get back on in the W column. So this is going to be interesting. Virginia Clemson. This one, Clemson has been on a roll since they got killed by Georgia. So I mean, but Virginia has been feisty. So this one could be a sneakily good game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Kate Klubnik can continue his performance. I mean, on the season, 17 touchdowns, only 2 picks, so he's found form, and I think it's much for this Clemson team. I'm thinking right now, Clemson is the front runner to win the ACC based on how they look.
Completely agree, and don't forget about Pittsburgh because I know Pittsburgh plays Clemson in like November, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a huge game at Pitt. Man, I think this one might be the most exciting game of the week. Nebraska and Indiana. Indiana, 6-0 in the Big Ten, on top of the Big Ten standings. Nebraska is coming in with their young quarterback. Man, I think this is gonna. There's gonna be a lot of points in this one, and apparently Vegas does too. Total 50.5.
Yeah, and Indiana being the favorite by 7, so I'm not sure about that -7 line, but I would probably take the over in this.
I definitely take the over, and yeah, I would. I don't believe in that 7.5 point spread.
Yep. Number 23, Army. Army, welcome to the AP poll. Come on
Man,
now.
Army, man, dude, the armed forces being good in football is good for America, man. Army
Yep.
and Navy both being good. Like I low key sort of want them to both be undefeated. Going in, going into that last game of the year, and they
Yep.
actually might be
Before
able
that,
to fix each other. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, before that, like you mentioned, Army Navy game. Before that, they can meet each other in the AAC championship, in the American
Mm-hmm.
championship game because they're both in the American, and if they're both undefeated, they could see each other before Army Navy. So who knows how that will go? And I mean, if either of those two teams happen to be the best group of 5 team, they could find themselves in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year to finally see a armed forces team finally in the playoff, like Army or Navy, or that would be amazing to watch. And I think I'm putting Notre Dame on upset alert this
Oh
week,
yeah,
man.
against Georgia Tech, I'd be too. Yeah, that spread -10.5 is looking a little too suspicious, if you ask me. I do not trust that 10.5.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't trust Notre Dame on the road. They just been way too Jekyll and Hyde this year.
Yeah, I think they're pretty overhyped. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're still getting overhyped. So I'd say like either yeah, I'd take Georgia Tech to cover that. Like they'll probably like if they don't win, they'll probably only lose by like 3 or 4.
Definitely. And then we got Michigan, Illinois, but I am definitely taking the under in this game. Michigan's defense will keep it close, but I think Illinois will end up winning that game.
Yeah, I mean this game is basically a pick 'em. You look at that Michigan -1. That's a pick 'em right there. You
Right.
can pick whoever you think is like gonna win.
Navy, yeah, and Navy is back off bye week. They host Charlotte. Undefeated matchup, but I think they'll win that. And then we got LSU Arkansas, which is going to be a sneaky good game because Arkansas has been very pesky team. Really, if
Hmm.
you look at some of their results, they really could be 6-0 right now. But hey,
Yeah.
you are sometimes you are what the record says you are. But yeah, we got that. We got Georgia, Texas, and then we have K State, West Virginia. How is West Virginia going to respond after losing to us? So I mean, they got another top 10 coming in with K State, and all their losses have been against the top teams, top teams
Well,
or
I mean, the
undefeated
teams are
teams.
yeah undefeated teams. So I mean, you think about that. This might actually both West Virginia, Kansas State is not undefeated. So you're
Yeah.
set. You know what?
So
If it could ruin our season, I would love for West Virginia to ruin Kansas State's season. That would be one of the best things for me. Iowa State taking care of business against UCF, and West Virginia beating Kansas State. That would be a beautiful thing.
man, I would love that so much because I mean, you know, look, and I'm ready for either way. Like if we have to be the ones to knock out K State to go to the Big 12 title game, I'm for that. But if they're already eliminated by the time uh they come into the to Farmageddon, I'm good with that too.
Yeah, and then finally, 7 p.m. at number 21 SMU, traveling to Stanford. And I mean, SMU has been on a roll this year.
SMU, yeah, SMU is I believe in third or fourth in the Big 12 right now, or not Big 12, jeez, in the ACC. So
Yep.
yeah, they're one of the
Right.
top teams right now, and if things fall their way, they could see themselves in the ACC title game.
Yep. All right. So yeah, that looks to be a pretty good day of college football. So get your food, get your drink, get your tailgate going, and Saturday, October 19th is gonna be one to not forget for all the good college football you're gonna see.
Yes, sir. Let's hope our Cyclones get to 7-0. Don't forget to join us Wednesday night, 7 or not 7:30, 6:30, right here on the Bleav in Iowa State Bleav in Iowa State and Bleav Network. A few things before we leave. To get a hold of us, he is Matt Campbell impersonator on Twitter. I am at SciTie Guy. Also follow us on our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. On our personal pages, Bleav in Iowa State, Bleav BLEAV. Also, rate us, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast provider. Well, thank you for listening to our reaction show for Tyler Carter.
For Cody Van C. Lalo,
This is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
go State.